So, last week, as we began exploring our 12 spiritual powers, beginning with faith and strength as two of those 12 powers, I invited you to join me in choosing an area of your life where you're wanting to make a change or shift something and put these powers to the test to support you in doing just that. It may be to release something, like I have chosen to release 20 pounds, or call something new into your experience, something new as part of your being. This past week, while I have certainly focused on activating my faith power in my daily prayer time, I have more intently worked with my power of strength. To support me in my weight loss, I've made a decision to give up sugar. And I have faith that I can do it since I've done it before in the past. And what I recognized as I was in my preparatory time getting myself ready to step into this experience of having no sugar in my diet, I recognized what I really needed to focus on was the power of strength as I was working with these two powers. And perhaps you will find that true as we go through this series, that one power or a group of powers will be more important to really focus and hone and support you in what it is that you're working on. And as we were having this interactive time, and I ran up here without my phone, so I'll go get that when we get to the interactive time. I would also be interested in if you want to, and one of the things I said last week was, speaking it out loud, especially to a group of people, engages you in some level of accountability. It's one thing to think it and to kind of keep it quiet to yourself. So this is an opportunity at the end of the service, if you don't have a question, but you'd want to say, yes, support me as I move through shifting or changing something in my life, you can also put that in the comment box and we'll share as we can. Today, we are exploring the spiritual powers of understanding and power. It's always a little bit of an odd one, the power of power, but it is definitely one of our inherent powers that is important as we want to live a more spiritual, a more positive, a more loving life experience. When we look at understanding, understanding supports our faith because it expands our ability to comprehend. It allows us to move into a greater internalization of the truths as we understand them to be, and in turn then we get to live the truth we know a lot more consistently in our life. Charles Fillmore taught that there are two ways of getting understanding. One is by following the guidance of spirit that dwells within, and the other is to go blindly ahead and learn by hard experience. I've done both. I would imagine that for those of you who have been on this journey for a while, you've also gotten to experience both ways of really being able to understand and comprehend why things are unfolding the way that they are. Comprehension comes from listening to your life. It is activated as we shine a light on our own long-held beliefs, our own patterns of thought, and habits of behavior. When we begin to allow ourselves to look at those, we can then begin to see and also have the awareness to make a new choice from this. And rather than it being just happening in the subconscious, we now can say, I see this pattern, and now I can choose to shift it. I've been taking a class with a group of Unity ministers, and it's interesting because it dovetails a lot with the nonviolent communication that we worked on for several months here, with really getting in touch with feelings and needs and and allowing that to help understand what's going on whenever we feel that someone is against us or we are acting in a way that we would not typically choose to act were we conscious. And this goes a little deeper to say when those things, when those triggers happen in our life, where have they happened before, and then a time and a method to look at whatever long-held beliefs might be underlying those triggers that show up in our life. And what showed up for me this past week was this long-held belief, and it goes back, and I can hear my mother saying it, and I love my mother dearly, and this is probably something she inherited from her mother. In fact, I know it's true. Other people's needs are more important than my own. That a lot of times that's what's driving me and driving not only my happiness, but also driving my discomfort and discontent, because it's not in truth a true statement. So when we go through this process of really focusing on our own power of understanding, it's really about trying to look at what's underneath that is disrupting our peace. What is underneath that is causing us to act or to speak or to engage in a way that doesn't feel good to us. And yet we almost are like compelled. We react before we even have a moment to breathe and respond differently. So sometimes we get our understanding through this process of really looking deeper, and sometimes our understanding seems to come in what almost feels like a flash of realization. And perhaps you've experienced this too, when all of a sudden all the tumblers just fall together and you go, ah. In more common terms, people call it an aha moment. And I don't think aha moments happen that way. It's just when you've done all this other work, all of a sudden it seems to make sense. We get it. It's like, wow. I had that experience from a young age when I was first learning computers. And I'm going to date myself back in the 70s when it was still a punch card system is when I started in my first career in the IT field. And I can remember when I was taking my first class in high school, you know, and you just follow the book and it says type this command, then type this command, then type this command. And, you know, you would do it, and unfortunately, if you would get an error, then you'd have to go back to the book and try and figure out where you got an error. And it was really just sort of a rote following of the instructions. And then it was like one day in a flash, I got it. I understood. And once I understood it, it didn't matter what the language was anymore. I understood what was underneath it, and it made sense. Then it was just a matter of learning the new language, not how this whole process worked. Understanding is probably one of the greatest gifts that we can give to ourselves. You know, King Solomon, considered in his day to be one of the wisest amongst his people, when offered anything he would desire by God, asked for only one thing, and that was an understanding heart. For an understanding heart to be able to know what was supportive, what was right, what in those terms they call good and evil, what was something that would not bring more love and awareness into the world, and something that would. The author of our book, Adventures in Resilience, around these 12 powers writes this. She said, "True peace of the soul is the fruit of spiritual understanding. When it's applied to all the ins and outs and the ups and downs and the delights and disappointments, the successes and failures in life." Spiritual understanding taps into that infinite, spring-fed well of compassion. It takes us, because we have to do this with compassion for ourselves and for others, it takes us gently beneath the facts of life, the circumstances, the emotions, and the perceptions, and allows us to see with clearer spiritual eyes. And that spiritual power of power is helpful when we're moving through this new awareness and understanding. It allows us to have greater concentration, It supports us in greater self-mastery, and it gives us the authority to speak from a place of our own truth. Our concentration is simply the power of single-mindedness. You know, I used to really be proud of the fact that I could multitask, that I could be doing sort of three. I'd be on the phone while I was typing here and, doing something, thinking about something else. And I thought that was a good thing. And what I've discovered, the longer I've done this, is being fully present, being single-minded about whatever I'm doing brings me the greatest effectiveness and the greatest ability to master what is unfolding in that moment. It allows us, when we're in this power of concentration, to focus our attention completely on whatever it is that we are immersed in that moment. And it allows us to feel a greater sense of integrity with self when we're present. Because how many times do we pretend like we're listening, but we're not really listening to somebody else? And that in itself can cause all sorts of challenges in our relationships with one another and in our feeling of, I am really here and present and integrity with this person. I love this description, and perhaps you can identify with it. Spiritual teacher Marvin Anderson describes how we typically use our power. He writes this, he says, people run around dangling their power cords behind them, plugging them in here and there and everywhere, except into the true source that is within and all around them. We've got all this power, and yet we don't intentionally, oftentimes, direct where we're going to plug that power into, how we're going to source ourselves with that power. It's just whatever outlet happens to show up. Well, I'll plug into you for a little while, and now I'll plug into, whatever it is in that moment, and it happens in an unconscious way. Power also gives us the skills to have mastery over unwanted thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, sometimes those toxic patterns that keep us on this hamster wheel of going round and round with the same issues, which interfere with our ability to live the life that we truly desire, that our heart wants us to live. And so power, when directed, gives us that ability to consciously choose our thoughts. And if we don't consciously choose our thoughts, then our subconscious will choose them for us. In fact, it's choosing all the time for us, whether we're aware of it or not. So part of our power is to say, I have the ability to decide what it is that I think, what it is that I choose to be and do and express. You can use your spiritual power to choose what you plug into. If you're unsure about where to begin this process of shifting our thoughts and our beliefs, start paying attention to what is coming out of your mouth. Just be an observer as often as you can to what you're saying, to what you're expressing throughout your day. Power is located right in the back of our throat, and it is located in that because our ability to express is our power. It is our co-creative power. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. This is the power that we have to be a co-creator of our world, that we can command things into manifestation. Both Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, our Unity co-founders, have been quoted as saying, this was one of the things that they would oftentimes say to people around them when they heard them expressing things that they knew were not for their highest and best good. They said, never make a statement, no matter how true it may look on the surface that you do not want to see manifest in your life. Hear that again. Never make a statement, no matter how true it may look on the surface. Those may be the facts of the moment that you do not want to see manifest or perhaps continue to manifest in your life. And we do it unconsciously so many times. We say, "Oh, I'm so tired," or "Man, am I broke," or lots of other things. "I don't know what to do." That used to be one of mine. "I don't know what to do." Well, I do know what to do. I may not know in this moment, have clarity, but I do, because there is that innate power within me that knows what to do. If you don't want to see those things continue to manifest, if you don't want to be in that energy of "I'm so tired" all the time, then we have to begin to shift what we express. And sometimes it's just going to come out. We are human beings. We are here having this experience. But just to be aware, say, "Okay, thanks for that reminder, and I'm just going to try again to see if I can't be more mindful about the way I'm expressing life." Jesus' spiritual authority, his spiritual power, came not from his personality, not even from his intellect. His authority came, as we are told over and over again in the scriptures, from the Father, his source of inner wisdom. And the same is true for us. We must also partner our power and our understanding with the source of our own being in order to remain and to live from this spiritual truth, to use our power to create in a way that calls forth greater peace, greater love, greater light, not just in our lives but in our world, because we have come here to be that in our own unique ways. We have come to be a light unto our world. And so I invite you to just join with me. We're going to move into a little time of meditation as we activate our powers of understanding and of power. Gold is the color of understanding. Purple is the color of our power of power. So if you would just take a moment to just get comfortable right where you are, setting aside anything you might be holding on to, whether it be physically or in mind or in heart, and just know that right now is the only moment you need to be aware of. And allow your focus to be centered on the breath as it moves naturally in and out of your body. We are always breathing, but when we focus on our breath, we can remember that we are actually breathing the very breath of the divine. And in that breath, we can allow ourselves just to rest and relax in this moment, knowing that all is well. I am safe. I am supported. Now, if you would just shift your attention, your focus to just above your brow and inward into the front of your brain. Focus your breath on this area and see with each breath it is infused with a golden light. Perhaps it's barely perceivable at first, but as you breathe more intently into this area of your body, that golden light begins to grow and expand. And silently allow my words to become yours as you affirm them. I am the power of understanding. I listen to my life, and make meaningful connections between my experiences, my thoughts, my beliefs, and my feelings. I comprehend my essential, eternal nature. I am spiritual insight, seeing beneath the words and actions of others to their true spiritual nature, as I also see my own spiritual nature in the process. And now, see if you can move your attention to the back of your throat, the root of the tongue, the seat of our spiritual power. Bathe this area with the color of bright purple, a healing stream of light, infusing that purple energy throughout your entire being. And silently affirm these words. I am the power of concentration. I am the power of self-mastery. I am the power of spiritual authority. My source of power is divine power. I am the master of my thoughts, of my words, and of my actions. I concentrate on shining the light of love, of life, of wisdom, and all spiritual powers into my life and expressing them into my world. Just take a moment and rest in this feeling of magnificence, knowing that you have these powers pulsing, expanding, growing. As we rest for just a moment in the silence. And as you gently begin to bring your awareness back to this time and space, aware of your body, feeling your feet firmly planted on the floor, aware of your breath once again, and feel that energy of understanding and power, bringing a sense of enthusiasm, of excitement to what you can co-create, and a feeling of gratitude overflowing through all of your being. As we say thank you. Thank you, God. Amen. So I just looked out on the comments that are out there, at least the ones I'm seeing from Facebook, and I didn't see any questions. So I'll start in here, and perhaps if you have one that you want answered in the next moment or two, you can type them in if you're out there on Facebook or YouTube. But is there one in the sanctuary? Does someone have a question that they would like to explore? And you can just stand where you're at, and then I'll repeat it. Okay.
So today, that is pillars of cold, right? But yet it seems like it's 12 hours there. I just was curious, what is the difference between 12 hours and 7 hours?
Well, wisdom is another power. So Lori was asking, what's the difference between these 12 powers and the Eastern definition of the 7 chakras? I talked about those, I think, the first session we were having. And this is an expanded version of the 7 chakras, if you will. You'll find that so the power of love is in the same place as the chakra of love. This throat is our power, it's in the same position. Life is the bottom chakra. So you'll see a lot of parallels, and yet Charles Fillmore, in his understanding and awakening, thought it was more than just those 7 that were our innate powers. This is what he was inspired to share as he went through his different prayer meditation times and asked Spirit to help guide. And so there's the understanding is another power. Wisdom is one too. We're going to go through wisdom. So faith was not necessarily in the original 7 chakras. So he expanded that. I think he had an understanding of what those innate spiritual powers were that the East understood, and then expanded them to include 12 different powers. And they might be slightly different as far as what colors they associate with them, but that's true in the chakra systems too. So I've heard people with the 12 powers, there's musical notes for each of the 12 powers. Now who decided? Well, somebody just said, well, this makes sense to me. Just like there's a disciple that's with each of the 12 powers too. Does that help? Okay. Any other brave soul or anybody want to be really brave and share what you're going to be working on to support with the 12 powers to support you in mastery of or a greater experience of? Thank you, Lori, for just not letting me have dead air.
So you mentioned strength and you mentioned you had your weight loss journey. So I've been on a weight loss journey. So I would, that's what I want.
Okay. So Lori was saying she's also kind of working through this release of extra pounds. She's working with Weight Watchers, but she's also going to be using strength that helped her today to know that strength. And for me, and I'm really interested to see what happens this week, understanding is another one I'm trying to get to understand what are all these drivers. Food is just fuel. And I get that conceptually. I get that intellectually. But that's not necessarily the way it unfolds in the habits of my life. So I'm really working at this. So this power of understanding, I think, is going to be important for me as I get greater clarity about that. All right, anybody else? Oh, hi. Okay, that's wonderful. So he said he was going to be working less on the physical, but more around really getting connected and feeling that sense of oneness with his spiritual self. And then I did see one here. Molly says that she's going to be working on living in the present. She's going to be applying all of her 12 powers to really support her in living in the present. So thank you for that. Molly, who is actually in Virginia. So I love that we now can have people from all over the globe. I've heard we've had people in England watching us. So wherever you are, you can be a part of this community, which is a beautiful thing. Anybody else? Yes, Charlotte. Okay, so she's going to be working on understanding the power of her speech and really being focused on that. So that's a beautiful thing because that is our co-creative power. So we definitely want to create more of what we want to see in the world and not so much focus on what it is that we don't like and what we're not wanting to experience. All right, well, I certainly encourage all of you to claim your power of understanding and power this week, to shine the light of understanding and compassion. Compassion is a really important part in this. On whatever area that you're focused on, And pay attention. Just begin to pay attention to your thoughts and your speech expression. Maybe even ask a trusted friend to lovingly point out to you when you are expressing in a way that you perhaps have said, I choose not to do that anymore. I remember years ago when I was here, Reverend Carol and I would do that. Whenever I would say, I don't know, she would say, yes, you do know. And it wasn't in a punitive way. It was just a reminder. Oh, yep, there it is coming out of my mouth again. And as you do, here's what I know, that each of us move closer to claiming mastery over all of our circumstances. And that is a beautiful thing that will bring about a beautiful world. Thank you so much. All right.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. That every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire. In the darkest night, you are close like no other. I've known you as a father, and I've known you as a friend. And I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I'll give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I'll give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it keeps running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. All my faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God.
And I am so appreciative of Jeff. Originally, Jessica was supposed to be singing today until I got a call 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon that her 2-year-old was really, really sick, and she wasn't going to be able to make it today. So we just, you go to plan B, and sometimes it's even plan C. So as we prepare to share of our tithes and of our gifts and offerings with Center of Unity, I just invite you to do so with that feeling of gratitude for all of the good that's flowing in and through your life, all of the good that is flowing in and through Center of Unity. You know, we are so grateful for the ways in which so many people have been faithful in their giving through this unexpected last year, and we just continue to bless every gift that comes in and know that we use that wisdom and that power of understanding in how we support this community. After we bless our gifts, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row and place your gift in the larger basket, and then receive an affirmation. These are 12 Powers affirmations to support you as you move through this week. And even if this isn't your Sunday to share, or you give through the electronic program, you can take one of the purple cards in there and place that in the basket, or simply just put your hands over it and add your energy to that abundant flow and just see that flow continuing. If you're physically unable to come forward, there is a basket at the back where you can drop your contribution on your way out. And to support those who are watching remotely, we are working on, I don't know if we're going to be able to get an app or to have affirmations that you can select from up on the screen so that you can be a part of that giving and receiving. We hope to have something on our website, so if you go there to give, you will also be able to receive an affirmation there too. And just feel that flow of abundance moving in and through your life, moving through the ether waves wherever you may be at this time. And we are grateful to have Bob and the band share their gift of music as we prepare and share our gifts.
If you're watching us for the first time, or if you're the first time in the sanctuary, we're glad that you've chosen to join us. We invite you to visit our website to fill out the Connect card. If you're visiting us in person for the first time, we ask you to complete the visitor card found in the back of the pew in front of you and drop it in the basket or leave it at the visitor's desk. I feel pretty sure many of us that have been a part of the church for a while can well remember when we were visitors for the first time and what an impact finding this place and becoming a part of it has made on our spiritual journey in this lifetime. So we welcome you. We're really glad that you're here. For appreciation, we appreciate the caring circle that's being led by Kenny Green. Today we remember and appreciate that caring circle, which consists of Kenny and Phyllis and Harry Landvit, for their project, which caring circles have a project. They painted the back hallway, spruced up the 12 Powers quilts created years ago by our quilting group that included Karen Toon and Jennifer Breck, and hung them in the hallway to be appreciated during Reverend Linda's talks on the 12 Powers. You might want to just take a little journey through there. It's pretty impressive. And so to Kenny, Phyllis, and Harry, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
Here's what's coming up at Center of Unity. Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8 p.m., Michelle Accardo will host the Compassionate Communication Group on Zoom. We'll practice nonviolent communication and have an opportunity to receive empathy and get clear on feelings, needs, and making doable requests. The Zoom ID is on the screen, or you can access it from our website or the COU app. Be sure to stop by the bookstore to take advantage of the spring clearance sale. There are many items available for the price of a love offering or at a 40% discount. If you shop during the week, you can enjoy an additional 10% discount. New merchandise will be coming soon to enhance your spiritual journey. Adult Sunday School meets after church on Zoom from 12 to 12:45 p.m. Be sure to join us as we discuss today's message. All are welcome to join. The Zoom ID is on the screen, or you can access it from our website or the COU app. Every Tuesday at 11:30 a.m., Reverend Linda leads a metaphysical Bible interpretation class on Zoom. Each class is self-contained and all are welcome to join. The Zoom ID is on the screen, or you can access it from our website or the COU app. Every Sunday, we gather on Zoom before church to say hi and catch up. Come join us from 10 to 10:25 a.m. The Zoom ID is on the screen, or you can access it from our website or the COU app. There are multiple ways you can make a donation to Center of Unity. You can drop your donation off at the church, mail it to our P.O. Box, visit our website, use the COU or Venmo app, or you can text 817-606-8768 and follow the prompts. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.
You've chosen to join us, and we hope to see you back again next week. Bob, let's do our song, shall we? Why don't we all stand up together? Let's sing this one together. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, family all are we.
so as we go into this day, into this week, activating our spiritual powers, we go knowing our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful day, everyone.